Thanks for tuning in to Bourbon Drop. I'm your host, Myron. Today, I've got a very special episode for you guys. This is my beginner's guide to secondary. Now, with the holidays coming up, I know you guys are going to be tempted to either treat yourself or treat someone else to a very nice bottle of bourbon or whiskey. And I just want you to go about it in a smarter way because some of these prices are ridiculous, especially when you come to Maryland. So today's list will mainly go off of the Virginia ABC prices, setting that as far as MSRP, and then I'll give you what I'm willing to pay for a bottle and sometimes what they go for. And some of these stores are even higher than secondary. But anyway, before we get into this video, I want to let you guys know that the Westward picks are in. Shout out to Poor Decisions. We are the group that did the 2 half barrels. So these are 2 completely different barrels. I've got part 1 over here. Part 1, this barrel is 7.5 years old. It is barrel 17202, comes in at 127.76 proof. Then I've got part 2 over here. This barrel is 8.5 years old, comes in at 128.4 proof. Both amazing pours. Shout out to Poor Decision once again. You can find those in the link below. It will be in the description for the Poor Decisions website, and you can go there and also get picks. That shout out to Matt and Sean from Whiskey Wisdom because they did a pick with short barrel, bees knees, honey. Yeah, those are great as well. Anyway, we're going to get into this video. I don't want it to be too long, so first bottle up. I know you're probably looking at me like, what in the heck did he just put on the table? If you've even seen this. This is mash bill number 1. This is White Dog. This is pretty much basically moonshine. The Virginia ABC has it right now on their website, I believe, for like $17.99. I've seen it for like $14.99. I think I picked it up somewhere around $14.99, $16.99. This is kind of a novelty thing just to have. But this is how your Stagg, your Eagle Rare, what else? Your Buffalo Trace, pretty much all of those bottles, your E.H. Taylor, this is how they start out. And then they get aged in different warehouses, and then they become what they normally become, and then bottled and blended and things like that. But anyway, this bottle right here, if I was you, I wouldn't even pick it up. don't. And like I said, it's like a novelty item. If you want to give it to a buddy or just have one on the shelf, I wouldn't go higher than $14.99, $15, maybe $16. And like I said, the Virginia ABC right now, I believe they have it for $17.99. Next bottle up, going with Buffalo Trace. Might as well go with normal Buffalo Trace. Now, the Virginia ABC has this for $28.99. I can see it in Maryland sometimes for around $35, so $34.99, sometimes a little higher. If somebody absolutely has to have this bottle, if you're going to pay what the store owners want at $34.99, I'm fine with that. Some of them go up to as high as $40.99. I just can't see myself paying that much for this bottle. But like I said, if you know someone who truly enjoys this bottle and they just have to have it and you think it'll be a great gift for them, hey, you know, maybe even get up with somebody, 40 bucks, you know, it is what it is. I myself, I wouldn't go over to $28.99 for it. I think it's a great pour. Even if I saw it here in Maryland for like $35 and I really needed one, like I didn't have one on the bar, I just skip it. I have done that in the past. I just skip it and wait until the Virginia ABC puts them out on the shelf, because thankfully they put these out on the shelf now. These are no longer allocated. All right, so this one right here on secondary is probably around anywhere from $1.50 to $1.75. I've walked in stores and seen this thing for $2.99, $3.99. This is the new 24B. Yes, it's highly allocated. You're not gonna, most of the time, you're not just gonna walk into a store. Every once in a while with the new Virginia ABC drops, you will get lucky. You will see a unicorn that I have on the show tonight, because I did walk in and get lucky. But this bottle on the Virginia ABC, I believe it goes for $65.99. It used to be like a $60 bottle. Most of the Staggs that I've had, I've only paid the MSRP. This one, I did purchase on secondary. Now, you guys, if you're familiar with the channel, my rule is 30 over retail. I try not to go 30 over retail. I love Staggs. So Stagg, Stagg Junior, whatever you want to call them, I have to have them if it's a reasonable price. Now, I paid $160 for this one. I will not go over that. I mean, like, I have thought about maybe $199 in the past, but I'm like, dude, this is really not a $200 bottle. Just hold your horses. Maybe you'll find one for a decent price. I think $150 to $160 is great all day. Do not, I repeat, do not walk into a store that has these things on the shelf for $2.99, $3.99, drop that amount of money and either have it for yourself or give it to give it as a gift and be, you know, disappointed that you paid that much. They're great pours, but they're not $200, $300, $400 bottles. All right, so next bottle on the list. This is a little bit of a cheap bottle. This will cover the whole line. I think the whole line is great. At one point, these were allocated, so the Virginia ABC only released these on drops. This one is from South Carolina when I made the trip down to Florida and stopped through, and this was the cheapest I've seen this bottle for. So this is the small batch coming in at $19.99. Some of you guys, I think, made comments that you can even get it cheaper than that. The Virginia ABC, I believe, has it somewhere around $23 or $24.99. Don't quote me on that, but they actually have the single barrel higher than the full proof, which I can't understand because I see the single barrel in other states for cheaper than the full proof. I think the full proof is now $25.99, and I think the single barrel is either $27.99 or $29.99, something like that. So if you do see this bottle and you want to pick it up as a gift, I think the whole line is great, but I wouldn't pay more than retail. This is not a bottle you're going to find on secondary anyway, at least I don't think, but I don't think that that bottle warrants any more than the company sets the price for. Now, this is probably going to be a very controversial bottle. This is Elmer T. Lee. My first Elmer T. Lee I did not like, and my second Elmer T. Lee I did not like. This is a $37.99 bottle, I believe, so roughly 38 bucks. I don't think it's worth that. You will see these you will probably see them on secondary for anywhere from $200 to $300. I've walked into stores and seen them behind the counter for $3.99. That is ridiculous. Do not pay $3.99 for this bottle. I don't even want to pay retail for this bottle. I am not a huge fan of this Elmer T. Lee. This is one that is mash bill 2. So this one and Blanton's are both mash bill 2. Love Blanton's, not this one so much. If you see this one for I would say 60 bucks, I would go as high as 60 if I knew I was giving it to someone who really enjoyed it. You know, because like I said, when it comes around the holiday, Christmas time, you want to give someone like a nice present and you don't mind spending a little extra on, you know, something for someone else. So if you see it for around 60 bucks, which you're not, but if you see it for around 60 bucks, I say that is probably the highest that, you know, I'd be willing to go to and give it as a gift. If it's for yourself and you spend $200, $300, $400 on this bottle, you will be disappointed, trust me. All right, what's next? All right, well, talking of another mash bill 2, we're gonna go with Blanton's. Now, this is the bottle that everybody chases. Blanton's is my 93 proof monster. It's just a weird proof. Everybody loves the horsey top. Everybody loves the shape of the bottle. It's a pretty bottle and it's actually pretty decent juice. At 93 proof, it's not gonna, you know, knock your socks off, and it's not gonna wow you the first time you have it, but it's still gonna be a great pour. This has actually crept up. So these used to be like $60, $65 bottles at the Virginia ABC. These are now $75.99. And when I looked on the website, my eyes almost fell out of my head because I couldn't believe it. And then I was in the store today because yes, Virginia ABC has been dropping Coy Hill. I got there too late. They had some E.H. Taylor small batch. They had these were still sitting on the shelves for $74.99. But you know, I myself have seen them on secondary for around $150. I've seen them in stores as high as $199. I wouldn't go over, if you really wanted to give this as a gift, and you know that they're a little harder to find, $120 to $150 is that price range that I'd really like to spend if I'm giving it as a gift. Me personally, myself, even if I ran out of all my Blantons and I needed to pick another one up, I wouldn't pay that. maybe 99 for it, but I wouldn't pay that. I wouldn't pay anything near 150. Definitely not 199. If I was giving it as a gift, I would love to see it around that 120 to 150 mark. All right, next on the list. Now we're about to get into Weller. So unicorn time. So I walk into the Virginia ABC, and I am just looking around like I normally do. The lady, she says, you know, can I help you? Can I help you with something? I was like, I'm just looking around. She said, well, we got the Buffalo Trace in. So she points down the aisle. The Buffalo Trace was right beside her. I could not believe, I had already walked that way. I couldn't believe I walked right past it. They had two just sitting on the shelves. Now, one of my buddies says it's probably one of the bottles that somebody didn't pick up that they won in the lottery. He may be right because it did have like a strip of tape where they normally tape the receipt and, you know, to the whoever's going to buy it or the person's name. But it did have like a piece of tape on it. So he may be right. He may be right. Or they could have just gotten an odd amount when they got their drops and just put them out. Because they did have a lot of Buffalo Trace products on the shelf that day. All of the Benchmark were fully stocked. All of the Buffalo Trace were fully stocked. They didn't have any Blanton's. They did have some more of the Bourbon small batches. Those were fully stocked. Didn't see any single barrels. But this one right here cost me $40.99. So 41 bucks at the Virginia ABC. I've had it before, did a review on it in the past. I'm even thinking about keeping this one just to use for a trade. I think it is a good pour. However, I've seen these bottles for $200, $300, $400 for the full proof. I've seen the full proof as high as $3.99. I wouldn't pay that much. I would double the price. I know I try to stay within my 30 over retail. I would definitely double the price. I'd pay 82 bucks for this bottle because this is a bottle that I don't see all the time. Is it worth like chasing, running around after? Not necessarily. like look, let's be honest with you. This is 90 proof, a 90 proof 12-year-old weeder. Are you going to pay $200, $300, $400 for a 90 proof Maker's Mark? No. And I honestly like Maker's Mark more than I like typical regular Weller. All right, so we'll get into that one next anyway in a second. But this right here being 41 bucks and then seeing it on the shelves for $200, $300 is just ridiculous. Do not spend that much money. I am not sure what they go for on secondary. I'm really not. Like I said, I'm probably gonna use it as a trade. I don't think I'll crack it. I've already shot a review on this. If you want to get my full thoughts on it, go check the review out back in my catalog. All right, let's get into Weller 107. Now, when it comes to the Weller 107, I got this bottle a few years ago. I refuse to empty this bottle until I get another one. These are very hard for me to get. I've seen them in other hunt videos for around 150. I'm not sure if it's a 150 bottle. I try to stay within my 30 over retail. There are so many great bottles out there. Look, this is a wheated bourbon, comes in at 107 proof. It's very good. It's actually probably my favorite because I've never had the full proof, but it's probably my favorite of the Weller lineup. But if I saw one for 100 bucks, yeah, I'd probably spend 100 bucks on it. I can't see myself going 150. Definitely can't see myself going $200 for this bottle. So if you see this bottle on secondary for like, let's say, $200, no. If you see it in the store, $200, no. The highest, if you're giving it as a gift, maybe 120, but I can't see myself, myself paying more than $100 for this bottle. Now, I did get this bottle through a trade. I had a bunch of Blanton's, so I was able to trade a guy a Blanton's for a 107. When I first got it, I felt like he got the better end of the deal, but then as it opened up, I really liked it a lot more. All right, let's get into another Weller. So this is the bottom of the bottom shelf Weller. I've seen these marked up. I've seen them marked up, not in the hundreds, but I've seen them marked up. Do not pay anywhere. Now, this is just me. Some people like this because compared to the single barrel, which I like the single barrel. They say that the single barrel is pretty much this, and I like the single barrel. Some people do like this. This is a $28.99 bottle at the Virginia ABC. I really haven't seen them. That's just only on their website. So I haven't even seen these like on the shelves. But I wouldn't pay more. Actually, I'm not paying more than retail for this bottle. I know what's inside. I know that I really don't care for it. The only time I've had this bottle for years, the only time I use it is when I do blinds or something like that, you know, dealing with weeders or Weller, just trying in general to show people that the hype is not what it should be for these bottles. But anyway, $28.99 is the most I'd pay for it. If you want to give this thing as a gift, you see it for around 40 bucks. That is not bad in my opinion, especially if you know someone that really likes it. Someone who's never had it, if you pay that much, that's still not really a loss if they don't like it. You know, 40 isn't too bad, but do not go 80, do not go 100, do not go 120. That would be an insane amount of money for that bottle. All right, so we're gonna throw a rye on the list. This is Sazerac. Now, I think the Virginia ABC has these for around $27.99 or $26.99, something like that. I've seen them in some, I think, hunt videos. I think I've seen some of the prices be like $23.99. I've seen it as high as like $34.99. The Virginia ABC took these off of the allocation list way before they took Buffalo Trace off the allocation list. I think they realized that after all of the bottles were bought, when they did their drops, that a ton of these were still left behind. So they were like, well, why not just put them on the shelves and let people get them? It's a very sweet juice. It's very light. It's not something that's special that's gonna, you know, knock you off your feet. So I would just pay whatever the Virginia ABC MSRP is. So if that is well, their retail price, I believe MSRP is around 26 bucks. So Virginia ABC has, I think, for, like I said, around $26.99, $27.99. That to me is a fair price. If you can find it for cheaper, go ahead and get it. I wouldn't pay, you know, super high prices for this thing. Maybe 30 if I really wanted one. But that's pretty much as high as I would go. This right here was a release. This was the Buffalo Trace. This was the Buffalo Trace Kosher Rye. Now, this is not a rye. It's just that the rye in it is kosher. So I think these were around 50 something bucks, 50, maybe $49.99 or $54.99, something like that. Do not go crazy. One of my buddies, I think he bought one in DC for like $1.50. That is a lot of money. And when I did my review, I said that it's better than regular Buffalo Trace, but that might be because of the proof points, because it is 4 points higher in proof. That now, the regular Buffalo Trace comes in at 90, this thing comes in at 94. It's a good pour. It's not bad. I don't go to it often. You know, shout out to my man CA for giving me this bottle, but it's not a bad pour. I don't go to it often. But I would definitely not pay $150 for this bottle. If you see it on secondary for $150, don't do it. If you see it on secondary for $120, don't do it. It is not something that is super special. If you see it on secondary and somebody maybe wants 70 bucks for it, and you really want it or want to give it as a gift, that wouldn't be a bad price. All right, this one is a bottle that I stood in line for because the Virginia ABC did a drop back in 2021. They didn't, I think 2021 was the year that they didn't release a GTS. So they did have some 2020 GTSs that they dropped in 2021. How? I don't know. But anyway, shout out to my man Kenny for letting me get a sample. That was my first GTS ever. They had this, they had Birthday Bourbon, they had Elijah Craig 18. No, it was the Old Forester 150th anniversary, not Birthday Bourbon. They had GTS and a whole bunch of other stuff. I decided to get this single barrel because all of the GTS were gone. There was no way I was going to get my hands on that. I didn't want to spend on the Elijah Craig 18 because I heard that it is just mediocre juice for the price. Then they had the 150th anniversary Old Forester. I was just kind of like, you know, after reading reviews, it was number 3. It was batch 3 or number 3, and I was like, once a lot of the reviews said that it had a dill note in it, I was done. I was like, I can't do it. So I just went ahead with this. I also had a chance to get the Weller Full Proof because that was at the same drop, but I had never had an E.H. Taylor. I knew how hard they were to get. I felt like maybe at some point down the line I could get a Weller Full Proof. However, that has not been the case. But at the time, I spent 60 bucks on this bottle. I think it's shot from 60 to 65, and I think now it is on the Virginia ABC website for probably around 75 bucks like the blends. I'll put the correct price up on the screen. But if you see this thing and absolutely have to have it, absolutely have to have it, I would not go more than $1.50. I mean, really, it's 100 proof. It's bottled in bond. It's 100 proof. It is good juice, but I'm not gonna go. Me myself, I am not gonna go more than, let's say, 100. But if you absolutely have to have it, definitely I would say 150 is the cutoff. When I was in Vegas with the wife, they had the regular small batch for 99 bucks. And we all know that's like a $35, $37 bottle. I think it's crept up now to like 40 bucks. I am not paying $100 for the small batch. This right here, single barrels, I'm kind of a little bit of a guy who likes to have single barrels because I know they all are different. They offer different flavors, and I know how hard these are to get. So that's why I'd be willing to spend 100. 150, I'm out the game. If you absolutely have to have it, 150 might not be too bad. I have seen some of the barrel proofs for sky high, ridiculous prices. So I can't even get into those, but I've never had one, so that's why I'm not going to comment. Now, GTS, you guys might be a little shocked. I do not have one. I have a stand-in bottle. GTS, I've only had two. So the 2020 GTS and the 2005 GTS. Shout out to Kevin for letting me get a sample of that. I did a blind with that on the channel. If you want to go back and watch that video, I'll put it up against my Ride 3. You can go back there and look at the results. Both of those are phenomenal. Phenomenal. This at the Virginia ABC is 150 bucks. I would go no more than double the price. I would go no more because it is a once a year release and it is great juice. Like everyone that I've had has been good. Like everyone that I've had, it's like they do amazing things with the George T. Stagg, man. I would not go any higher than 3. And I'm being 100% honest. But the problem with that statement is you're not going to even see it for 3. Like if you win the chance to buy one, chances are it's going to be in a lottery and it's going to be at MSRP or pushed up just a little bit. But other than that, you're not going to see it for $300. I've seen this bottle for around $1,200. I think secondary is around $750, but I've seen it in the store, GTS for $1,200, $2,000, $1,500. I mean, these bottles in Maryland, at least, most of the spots in Maryland because there are some areas that the county controls the prices, but for the most part in Maryland, when I see these bottles, they are ridiculously priced. If you see this bottle on secondary for that $750, that is totally up to you. It is great juice, phenomenal, but it is not a $750 bottle. If you see it in the store, do not, because it's Christmas time, think, oh, you know what, $1,000, that's not too bad. I'd only see it for $2,000, because you will be heavily disappointed. Look, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I enjoyed putting it together for you guys. Put it in the comments what bottles that you would pay high prices of secondary for, what bottles you wouldn't pay high prices of secondary for. I like to kind of, see where you guys are on these topics. And with that being said, let the whiskey flow. Never run out, let's get it to a drop. Until next time.